Now, our first interaction that we're going to look at is going to be the mouse area, which is by far going to be the most common way that people are going to interact with your UI. The mouse area is equivalent to a single finger press, and it doesn't really have any visual representation, but it does have a visible property. This visible property determines whether or not this mouse area is visible to the mouse. And just like all of our other items in QML, the default width and height is going to be 0. So we need to give it a size. Our most common size that we're going to do here is we're going to do anchors.fill parent almost always for the mouse areas. This will fill the mouse area's parent, of course, with the mouse area. When we want to monitor for input, we can provide actions and logics either using the signal handlers, like on clicked, double clicked, on press and hold, or we can bind certain properties like pressed, contains mouse, or pressed buttons, etc. Now, the difference between using a signal and the property binding is really the broadness of the reaction. A signal can be really easy in some cases where we're intending on changing one item instead of a collection of items. However, with a property binding based on a named object, we're able to bind properties of multiple items to that so they can all react to this property change. My suggestion for this is to use whatever is the most intuitive approach for your use case. And always, 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 you want to favor simple assignments over complex ones. Here, we have a rectangle and a text that's centered inside of its body. This is very similar to a button. Basically, it's a rectangle with a label. So now we have a mouse area. Notice it's inside of the text item. So what that means is that when we fill the parent is the text. So only when we click on the text will the text color change here. And we've used the signal handlers on pressed and on released so that when we press it, the text color is going to turn green. And when we release it, the color will turn black. Now, we have a few pointers here. First of all, mouse areas only respond to accepted buttons. So we have an accepted buttons property that can allow us to filter out what buttons are detected. By default, cute.left button is the default accepted button. The pressed buttons property will always report all of the buttons that have been pressed, no matter what the accepted property or the accepted buttons property is set to. If hovering is set to false, contains mouse can still be true if the user clicks, because when the user clicks, the mouse is inside of that mouse area. We can also set drag properties, but it's important to note that we can't use this with anything anchored because those things are anchored. When we set a drag, we're able to set the target, the axis we can drag upon, and also we can optionally set a drop area that will allow us to drop that target into that spot. Now, I'm going to show you some code example here. Here we have a simple example with 4 buttons. We have a button where I can click. You cannot see, but I also have a touch screen here, so I'm able to click with my finger as well. We can do a press and hold, either with my finger or with the mouse. If I do a hover, notice how it instantly changes here. However, I can't hover with my finger because I have to touch it. And dragging works both the same. Here we're able to drag it, and I have on release, it goes back to its original home position. So here we can see the code for how we do this. Our first rectangle here is the normal clicking one. We've used the on press and on released to set the parent color to the appropriate colors. On the second rectangle here, we're using on press and hold and on released to do the same thing. Our third one, we are setting our hover enabled to be true. And then we're binding our color property to whether or not the mouse area for that contains the mouse. And then for our last one, you can see we've set a drag target to be the parent of this mouse area, which means we'll drag the parent around. We're able to drag it upon its X or Y. And when we let go of it, it's just going to return to its initial position.
Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more, please subscribe to our channel and check out the free QML programming course on our website. The link is in the description.